You just, it's been one phase to one the fully.
Are we live? Are we?
We're live.
We're live. I just, it says Mike
And technical.
Sargetis.
Sartakis. Go on.
I'm gonna take control, Bobby.
Okay.
Robust citizen input. And then.
There we go.
Care about.
All right, we'll call her to order. So tonight is July 17th, 2023. North Bend Planning Commission. First motion or first meeting agenda item is approval of minutes for June 19, 2023. Does anybody have a chance to review the minutes and make any comments?
I've reviewed and I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
A second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Tonight's scheduled public hearing is case number 627-23-000013 planning amendment to City of North Bend comprehensive plan to align cross jurisdictional regulatory products to the Coos Bay Estuary Management Plan. There we go. Right now, the public hearing on case as read already. Today is July 17th. It is 7:01 p.m. My name is Brian Gold. I'm the Planning Commission Chairperson. The Planning Commission will make a final decision on this application based on the complete record, including the testimony received at tonight's public hearing. These proceedings will be recorded. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with North Bend City Code and State Law ORS 197.797. The staff will first present the staff report and recommendation. The applicant will then have an opportunity to present the proposal and address any issues raised by a staff report and recommendation. For public testimony, I will first ask to hear people who would like to speak in favor of the proposal. I will then ask for people who have neutral comments or questions, and finally, those in opposition to the proposal have an opportunity to present testimony. City staff may then present additional material and recommendations based on public testimony. The applicant will be given an opportunity to have the last word. After each presentation, I will ask for questions from the commission. For anyone wishing to speak, we are asking you to sign up on the sign up sheet that has been provided. And when called upon to speak, you must be recognized by me, the chairperson, and you must state your name and address for the public record. We ask that each speaker limit themselves to no more than 3 minutes. Please remember that all presentations will be timed. You will be informed when your allotted time has expired. All speakers exceeding the time limit will be asked by me to immediately conclude his or her remarks. If you do not finish your presentation, be sure to provide a copy of your statement to staff. Written testimony may be offered and will be considered and made part of the public record. In order to minimize repetitive testimony, organizations are encouraged to have only one person speak for the group, with other members of the organization standing to show their support. Each person may testify only once and unless called back to the podium at the request of council member to respond to a question. Thank you for cooperation. Conflicts of interest, ex parte contact bias. The commission is required to disclose any conflicts of interest in ex parte contacts that we've had with the proposal or applicant. That is, whether we have had any financial or other personal interest in the proposal, and whether we have spoken with anybody about the proposal outside of this hearing. Also, commissioners may only participate if they can do so without undue bias, either for or against the application. Do any commissioners wish to make any disclosures? So I attended the City of Coos Bay meeting about this, but that was public. So that's it. Anybody wish to challenge any members? Okay. All right. State law requires me to tell you a number of things at the beginning of the hearing. First, the applicable substantive criteria that apply to this application are contained in the written staff report and will be identified and discussed in the oral staff report. Second, your testimony, arguments, and evidence must be directed towards these criteria or other criteria in the comprehensive plan or development code that you believe apply to this application. Third, failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the decision maker or other people an opportunity to respond may preclude appeal of the decision of this application based on the issue. Finally, to the applicant, failure to raise constitutional or other issues relating to proposed conditions of approval with sufficient specificity to allow the city to respond to the issue precludes an action for damages in circuit court. Appeal from the planning commission are heard by city council, and we will now hear from staff who will go over the staff report. Derek?
Commission, before you tonight is a comprehensive plan amendment that seeks to align the city of North Bend with Coos County and Coos Bay in the implementation and enforcement of the Coos Bay Estuary Management Plan, or CABEM. This proposal seeks to update a reference from estuarine management segment and shoreline boundary map to the Coos Bay Estuary Management Plan parts 1 and 2. Thereby adopting by reference in our comprehensive plan what we've already adopted in our development code. This reference in the staff report was mistyped and repeated the estuarine management segment and shoreline boundary map title twice. That was an oversight on my part, and so I do apologize for that. And the typographical error was in Exhibit A, Part 1, which should have read, the proposal is to amend the North Bend Comprehensive Plan to modify the list of maps and documents incorporated as part of this document on page II to replace the current 1985 Coos Bay Estuary Management Plan with the updated 2023 CABEM. The text amendment includes the deletion of the estuarine management segment and shoreline boundary map, which is the primary map of the 1985 Coos Bay Estuary Management Plan and is replaced by Coos Bay Estuary Management Plan parts 1 and 2. This will adopt the full map atlas located within Part 1, Appendix A, and as Section 9 of Part 2, and the new data source in Part 2, Section 8, as part of the list of maps and documents incorporated as part of this document. And that's in reference to the comprehensive plan. This proposal does not change how we already implement the plan, being the CABEM. It just codifies it in our comprehensive plan, this phase of the phase 1 update. To continue this implementation. What this proposal is not is a total plan review or update or revision. All of the work that has been done in the CABEM thus far has primarily been to correct Scrivener's errors and from the original hand-typed document, update agency names, to reintroduce the steering committee, which is made up of the 3 jurisdictions, tribal leaders, the ports and stakeholders who are planning on meeting a minimum of annually to maintain cohesion throughout the estuary. Future phases of the CABEM will look to the much better science that we have at our disposal and consider additional factors such as climate change and sea level rise. To address future phasing, a memorandum was prepared by our consultants at the University of Oregon Institute for Policy Research and Engagement, and that was sent to you ahead of the meeting as well as passed out this evening. In the memorandum, our consultant Amanda addresses that this work has been phase 1 of a larger and more comprehensive plan to update the CABEM in a larger way. Much of our public comment has been around this fact that this is a good first step, but isn't enough in light of the available science in the changing world that we live in. To address this, staff will be producing a resolution to be presented to the governing body to commit to future phases of the CABEM update. This resolution is going to be a valuable tool for future grant writing as a material commitment to not only the plan, but to our citizens and conservation groups who ask that we hold momentum in the continual update of this plan. So due to the scale and nature of the data provided by each jurisdiction, there have been some discrepancies found in the GIS layers. This information is currently being corrected and does not affect the management units or the regulatory ability of the jurisdictions to implement the CABEM, but it does provide an opportunity for confusion and miscommunication. These data layers are currently being corrected by BLCD staff, but it will take time as this is not a planned part of the project. As such, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission take public comment tonight and continue the hearing to October 16th, 2023. To that meeting to allow for the issue to be rectified, as well as allow staff time to produce a comprehensive package to include the future commitment resolution and present that package to the commission as well as city council more completely. That's all I've got. I would like to throw it over to Amanda Ferguson, who is our consultant from U of O. She's got a short presentation on this project.
Greetings, planning commissioners. It's a pleasure to be before you tonight. I think Derek actually did a great job giving an overview of this project, and I'm not going to bore you with a presentation, although I will say that I'll just reiterate that the major reasons that we're looking at part one at this time is to realign the three jurisdictions under one reference document so that we can move forward with the future phases that everyone is committed to doing and that the public has made very clear that they want to see us do under one document rather than under three separate documents. So the work that's before you tonight is sort of the culmination of about 5 years worth of work that has gotten us to this point, which includes the data source and the map atlas, as well as the revised parts 1 and part 2 of the CABEMP, which, as Derek said, includes a full revision for Scribner's errors, as well as updating on various elements of it that reference state law or state agencies, and 2 new amended policies specifically associated with plan updates and plan maintenance. So I'm going to leave it at that and see if you have any questions at this stage in your review of all the documents that you were given.
There's no questions.
Okay.
Thank
So
you, Amanda.
well, I have a question, just a general question. So a lot of this public comment relates to getting us to agree to future changes.
Correct.
And isn't that sort of a blank check, not knowing what the future changes are?
What we're agreeing to is doing a future update, which I think is generally determined that we need to do that. We haven't really been able to, as part of phase 1 update, look at the new science that has been created and from the climate resilience adaptation plan, as well as updated maps associated with eelgrass and shorelines and sundry others that are part of the data analysis, and then review those against the current management unit boundaries of the CABEMP. There is no saying at this stage whether or not those management units would be changed as part of that update, but it would be part of the plan maintenance to review that. And the way that we have currently proposed that plan update would be a process that would be at least every 10 years, an update process would be undertaken to review the current science and make sure that the CABEMP is aligning with that current science. It could happen more frequently than every 10 years, but that is what we are recommending be the proposal at this time.
I would just like to add that, you know, looking at this document, the one that we have in place was done in 1985. It's not very good planning to go this long without a plan review. And so I think that the future resolution would, you know, commit us to actually doing what we should be doing and maintaining this plan more comprehensively.
I would like to say hamstring the city, like building process or nothing.
No.
That's what okay.
Nothing like that.
We're not committing to like, we're never going to develop on the waterfront again or anything.
No.
Okay. That's all I care about.
So now I have a question.
Yes.
Of course I have a question. I believe in the packet somewhere, I read that the University of Oregon recommended a full plan overhaul, but due to financial constraints, it was approved to do a modification, which is what we're here doing today. Was that correct?
I'll let Amanda speak to that one.
That is correct. The University of Oregon in 2018 was working with a planning community planning workshop, which is a group of students that were working on this project, and they developed a land use analysis of the CABEMP. And as part of that analysis, they did recommend a full update. However, it was decided at that time that there wasn't the staff capacity or the financial capacity in order to undertake the full analysis. So they decided to move forward with the proposed partial update.
Okay, and the proposed partial update is fixing wording and errors and updating minor things to make the city of North Bend, the city of Coos Bay and Coos County all the same.
Correct. And we also digitized the entire document. So it's no longer in just 7 written formats. It's now a digital version that will be accessible online to the public, as well as all of the maps were digitized.
And then, I'm sorry, go ahead and finish.
No, I was going to say the goal of those 2 pieces was to make the document more usable. So there are some hyperlinks that have been inserted into the document as well to make it more searchable.
Okay, so in my reading and going through this, I see that and our discussion, more comprehensive update of the plan is being proposed at a later date with only minor updates at this time. But we passed on the full update a while ago because of financial constraints. Where are we going to get the money for that? If we didn't have it 3 years ago, where are we going to get the money now?
I do not have a fundraising plan at this stage, although I believe that the staff has discussed providing a list of potential financial resources for this as part of the resolution that Derek mentioned that we are proposing that will speak to the commitment to pursue those financial resources. So that will be something that comes to you at your next hearing.
No, okay.
John or Joe?
Yep.
Right.
And well, just one more thing.
Oh, yeah.
I believe, Derek, that you said that you would recommend at this time that we extend this hearing until October,
That is correct.
which is a little different than what I read earlier. I believe.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. I'm good. Thank you.
All right, so would a member of the public, the people who wish to speak in favor, I think I have Ken Bonetti. Hope I pronounced your name right.
Yeah, Bonetti.
You could state your name and your address, please.
Right. My name is Ken Bonetti, 1997 Oak Street, North Bend. I've submitted written testimony twice already on this, asking for a full phase 2 development, and I hope that you will seek the funding necessary to accomplish that. Grants can be written. I think you can consult with the University of Oregon people and so forth to get some information on where to go for money to do this. So I'm hoping that you'll pursue that to the extent that you can. I'm not going to repeat everything that I have in my written statement. I covered it with that in some detail. But I did feel that I wanted to speak to my personal concern that this come about from past experience elsewhere. And in light of what seemed to be specific interests pursuing maximalist development of the Bay for business purposes that may, if not carefully managed, harm the Bay and its estuaries and its wildlife and shorelines and so forth. So that, and also the passage of HB 3382, which has weakened land use processes by exempting deep draft port facilities from land use regulations and laws. So I that's where my concern here comes from. But my past experience in land use comes from the Front Range area of Colorado, from where I moved here after I retired from the University of Colorado. And the reason why I we came here is because there was no land use planning there in regard to the development of oil and gas extraction, fracking, that occurred over a period beginning in the mid 2000s that developed well over 25,000 wells in to the east of the Front Range, Denver, Boulder. We were living in Boulder. And as a result of that, there was no oversight whatsoever, no restrictions, pretty much rubber stamping by the commission that was entrusted with overseeing that kind of thing, and the state government. And the result is that pollution from that, both water and air, but particularly air pollution from that, has occurred to the extent that fracking in the Front Range of Colorado and also in the western slope, Colorado near Grand Junction, has become the number one leading contributor to air pollution. And the reason why we moved is because my wife got sick from the air pollution, developed severe asthma from it. This was verified by 2 physicians, and we had to leave the Front Range. I was born and raised there. My whole family was there, and I don't want to see this kind of thing occur here. There needs to be oversight to this kind of development. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am, did you wish to speak?
I didn't sign up.
Well, if you could sign up real fast. We'd love to have you talk. Love to hear what you have to say.
I might be reading to you a little bit.
That's fine. Love to hear what you have to say.
Sure. And
Real quick, are you in favor, neutral, or opposed?
I'm in favor.
Okay. Just want to make sure we got our order right.
Yeah, if you could just sign your name and then say it for the record, appreciate it.
There we go.
Are these must be the mics?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I know he's gonna, minute and a half, 2 minutes. It's like
To
serving.
be honest with you,
one-
we rarely have someone come and speak, so it's pretty exciting for us to have this.
We have it.
I think it's been about 1.5 years since,
Really?
well, I mean, we haven't had a lot of, I mean, a lot of times it's like vacating the driveway, you know, it's not, we haven't done anything real
This
exciting.
isn't a real exciting job. Yeah, that's an important one.
Are you a resident in North Bend?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
If you're interested in planning commission, we have seats available.
Yeah.
I'll have to see now. I'll have to consult with somebody on the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been on, I was on the housing authority board in Fort Collins for 3 years, and it was a hell of a lot of work. Green binders coming to us that were like this thick every week.
We get like
Thank you.
millions of dollars in pay and,
Yeah, it was, I
We get really wet word.
I grew exceedingly wealthy from it, but I gave it all away.
so Patricia, love to hear from you.
Yeah.
You can say your name and.
Patricia Ashley, I live at 67147 North Bay Road, North Bend, on the other side of the bridge, I like to say. And I've been here for over 6 years. I'm just going to read to you. I would like to say I agree with every single point that Mr. Bonetti was stating. But I just would like to emphasize how important at this point it would be to outline how and when phase 2 and the update would occur. Also, I'm very concerned about who will be included or who will have a seat at the table because it isn't overtly stated. We can only request as citizens. Also, I just wanted to throw in a little reminder from Oregon's land use planning program. It's that all of the environmental management plans designate appropriate uses for each region of the estuary based on cultural, biological, physical features, and these EMPs also guide local review processes. So I'm hoping that U of O and everyone else is staying as close as they can to that. Also, the citizen involvement portion of the statewide land use planning program is very important to me. And to develop a citizen involvement program that ensures the opportunity for citizens to be involved in all phases of the planning process. And also, I encourage you, wherever you need or hear of funding sources, to go ahead and do that, because obviously that is going to be a major concern for everyone. You know, whether it's through grants, University of Oregon will have some sources. I'm surprised that the state also doesn't, like DSL, have some sources for those grants to be written up by the city or under the Oregon's new green laws. We'll see. But again, I just hope that phase 2 does occur. I think it's very important, having been here during the process of the Jordan Cove Energy Project, to make sure that everyone is heard from, not just a few people in the whole community, or it just drags it out. The second thing, that big thing I was thinking of too, was with the review of the plan, KBEMP. Probably the reason why it's taken 5 years for U of O to get to this point, and this isn't going to be a full revamp of the KBEMP, but it's going to be partial. It's probably because the KBEMP is so old. It hadn't been updated since, and I have 1983 in my record, not 1985. So, you know, I can understand this, and I can also understand the necessity for future review. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So, there's Mike and Meg are also,
Just Mike online.
is he in favor?
He is in favor, so he'll be speaking.
Is that Mike Craybill?
No, it is Mike Sargetakis with Oregon Conservation or Oregon Shores Conservation Coalition, I believe.
So how do we get him?
Mike, are you online?
I am. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Sorry, I'm not appearing via video, so I'm just sort of a disembodied voice here. My plan was to show up in person, but given Mr. Payne's recommendation to continue, we forewent the trip. But I'll just start out. Thank you for the opportunity to testify this evening. My name is Mike Sargetakis. I'm a lawyer. I'm here tonight on behalf of Oregon Shores Conservation Coalition. My address is 3141 East Burnside Street, Portland, Oregon, 97214. My phone number is 503-233-8044. My email is mike@crag.org, mike@crag.org. I'll be brief tonight. As I'm sure you all have read, or will certainly have an opportunity to read, our written comments that were submitted on July 11th by Oregon Shores Conservation Director Philip Johnson. Tonight, I'd just like to express my appreciation for the fact that you all are taking this process as seriously as you are, with this, hopefully taking this continuation. And we hope you'll follow the recommendation of Mr. Payne and extend that time frame for public input and the process in through the fall. Even as this phase 1 process is sort of a truncated interim plan, an effort to address Scrivener's errors and minor issues as outlined by Mr. Payne, it deserves careful consideration that you all are giving. One primary concern that I just want to highlight tonight, as you all are working through this phase 1 through the summer and into the fall, is just setting forth that process and plan to continue into phase 2, as some of the community members have noted tonight. We hope you, along with your city council and the other jurisdictions, will work towards getting this plan into phase 2 as soon as possible. And we hope that the phase 1 updates set up North Bend, Coos Bay, and Coos County for success in this comprehensive planning effort and moving forward in a unified form as Ms. Ferguson laid out in her presentation. Otherwise, in our written comments, we suggested a number of other mostly minor changes, which we hope will be incorporated into the final phase 1 plan amendment. And as I mentioned, those are in the written comments that Mr. Johnson submitted on behalf of Oregon Shores. I look forward to working with all of you and seeing you in person this fall, as well as working with your counterparts at the city and at the city of Coos Bay and at the county as this process continues to move. Thanks again for your time. That's all I got for you, unless any of you have questions for me.
Thank you, Mike. So there's no one wishing to speak in opposition or neutral, and we've received no other written things for the record. Okay. Derek, do you wish to make any rebuttals to?
No, not at all.
All right. Does anyone have any questions before we close the public hearing and open the deliberation and decision? Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So discussion by the commission. Somebody having a discussion?
I mean, I agree with everybody that that's how often do we go, like 50 years before we review something that obviously is very important to our area, so it has to be done and we need to do it. Like Mike said, I mean, hopefully we get into the second phase of it, as soon as we can. So
I think it's rare that you have community members and city and everybody's on the same page as to the way we should proceed. So it's pretty simple.
I initially thought reading these that we've had plenty of time for comments. And remembering that this is a small portion of an overall redo of the management plan. So for this, I initially thought we just need to pass this and get on. We have plenty of time for comments. However, hearing that there have been some mapping errors, there's some, I would recommend that we put off decision on this until October. And I'm actually looking forward to doing the full plan down the road. But right now, I think that we can get this part out of the way in our October meeting. And Derek, I'm sorry. According to Derek, they'll have all this stuff wrapped up and ready for us in October.
And this is all just, you can shake your head. This is all available online, correct? Yes, he is striking his head, yes. I can't ask him questions. So looking for for me, I think it's great. I just makes me I don't want to commit to anything for the future until you see what it says. So that's all I care about is not hamstringing the city and the future, but just if it's just updating maps and that kind of stuff, I'm all for that. But I wouldn't be in favor of committing to anything beyond state law. So personally.
So I'd like to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for case file number 627-23-000. 013-PLNG to October 16th, 2013, in order to provide the applicant the opportunity to revise, respond, or clarify issues brought up by the public and public agencies and any other sources.
So moved.
No. You said-
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Do we have any other business? Derek?
No, we don't.
Do we have any public comments?
I don't think that we have any additional public comment.
Any commission comment?
Sure. We've just been through the legislative session in Salem. On the top of the governor's list was housing. And some of that was passed through the legislature, some of that was not. part of that that was not passed was relaxing some of the land use planning throughout the state to make it easier to build housing. So we have a problem where we need housing, we have a housing crisis, we don't have enough housing for people, yet we have some pretty stringent land use laws. Part of that was to relax some of those laws to allow for some more building. I think that needs to be looked at. We have, as Patricia, I'm sorry, it was Ken mentioned that Colorado didn't have land use laws. We have a lot of land use laws here. So that's just one of the things that didn't make the governor very happy. So there's talk about even a special session to further investigate housing at the state level. She's committed to an additional gazillion houses in the state. But we have land use planning that bumps up against that. So we need to do something, and that might involve us here. Don't know for sure. So, I'm the chair of the legislative action team for the chamber, so I stay pretty close on those things. So you saw that it would get you all up to date if you hadn't heard that.
Anyone else? We'll adjourn. Thank you. Yeah, nice having people come talk.
Yeah. Good. I'm the city planner. So go ahead and mute on the video.